I'm
Yeah,
cooked, for real, for real.
everyone's cooked for real. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a sign of it's a good sign, right?
Yeah, it is. Things are picking up.
I think it
Yeah,
means
things
we're
are
back.
picking up.
I think
ETH
like
above
me taking 3
2K.
naps a day means we're back.
I finally closed my 100x short on ETH, so we're back.
Actually,
No,
damn, I was like, what? Closed or liquidated? Same thing. Same thing. Well, welcome to DAO Talk. It's been 2 weeks since we've gathered last to chat about the DAO ecosystem as a whole. I think this is episode 63. Last week we had DAO Talk interview number 44 with Meg Lister from Gitcoin, who is the product lead at Gitcoin. CHG interviewed her. CHG, how was that? If people weren't able to listen to that, I'm guessing some
Dude,
or most did, but
it was sick. It's good to get some women vibes in the space. So yeah, it was good. Me and Meg have known each other for like 4 years. So it was cool because we got to talk about how far things have come. And not just in like, like when you talk to random people and it's like, oh, I was doing this thing ages ago and you don't really know anything about it, but we've done a crypto journey sort of like in parallel to some degree. So it was cool. We talked a lot about decentralization, which is always a good one. I mean, I always talk about my background at Index Coop being like sort of a not fully decentralized DAO in name. And it seems like, I mean, Meg has the same opinion, and she's like factoring that into the decentralization plans at Gitcoin, in the grants program, which is really cool. We talked a lot about like the trade-offs of efficiency and decentralization, which is like, story of DAO life. But it was cool. Gitcoin grants program they're doing like a quadratic program and then they're calling it direct grants where they, like the foundation basically decides, or like, the core team, which I think is a cool mix. Like most things, there's a middle ground. That's probably the right one.
yeah, for sure. It was a good episode. Are you thinking about doing
shout
more?
out to Meg. Shout out
Shout
to
out
Meg.
Meg. Yep.
When Regan DAO Talk interview,
Dude,
I saw you brought Regan back from the dead on Twitter with your tweet.
I know. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
she brought me back from the dead on Twitter. Yeah, I've known Regan for years too because she used to do like someone at Index Coop helped her build her Twitter up, and then she
Yeah.
went to USC. So when I had gone home, she was like near my house, kind of. So yeah, she was in London visiting the Euler offices in her new job. So crazy stuff there.
Speaking of that, Frisian, do you know it's pronounced like that?
Of course I did.
Because we've talked about them before, and we both pronounced it wrong. That was like very early on.
I'm an educated
Yeah,
I'm an
I have
educated
to,
individual.
Educate yourself.
I
Get
might
it.
like
Right.
splice in a clip right now of Frisian pronouncing it
It's
wrong.
three strikes
from
and
a
you're
year and
out.
a half ago.
3 strikes and you're out, you know?
What do you?
I wasn't
think
gonna get the
that's
third
good.
one.
That's a good question. Is like, what are the hardest to pronounce names in
Dude, in
crypto?
crypto,
I think Sablier, but I think you could even pronounce it like Sablier or like Sablier. That one I always feel awkward. It's fine when it's
yeah,
like with your friends, but then when it's like with a member of their team, and you're like, we would love to have you guys be part of this. That one's
yeah.
difficult. Yeah, Oilers definitely number one.
Euler, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I think I've been thinking about writing something about like a visual identity or brand for DAOs. And I know people have talked about it loosely on Twitter around just like the like Arbitrum, like what a name, right? There's a bunch of names that just, I mean, are just a little bit crazy. Like, how do you come up with that? Frisian?
Yeah, shout out to the off-chain lab scene, but like the name. The thing
It's
is, like,
unique.
you got to stick with it now. You know, it's like
I like the name.
now it's like kind of cute because I feel like their brand is they're just like very product focused, you know, and very focused on like fundamentals, and so the name is kind of like nerdy and like serious sounding, but it definitely could be catchier.
I thought it was like a real word. So I think it's so good because I thought it was a real word that was like a science term or something. And then when my phone started like putting the red line under it, then I was like, oh, maybe not. But I think it's good. It sounds very official. It's like, what would you name your crypto project? I was like, well, that's the thing. I was talking with my, in like the like Bear, the like ridiculous names have sort of gone away a bit. But I got like a Telegram DM and it was like, "Hey, like we'd love to talk to you. We're from like Cannoli Finance." And it's like, dude, be serious here. So I think
Cannoli
that's just
finance.
gone away for now, but maybe they'll be back. They are, novelty.
Yeah. Um, I think we'll start seeing a lot more of this topic, start to surface around. Maybe not like as a hot topic, but I think I am seeing a lot more like projects pop up and people start to build things publicly now. And I think we're gonna see a lot of interesting names in the coming bull bull market um or whatever we're gonna call this next cycle. But definitely interesting. I think the more people in the space, hot take is not going to improve the overall brand and visual identity quality of the space. I think it's going to exacerbate the need for those types of thinkers and creators, which I think is an opportunity for people in the DAO space. I think honestly, yeah, now that I think about it, that's like a really good opportunity for a contributor of some kind. Sorry, I keep coughing. Because there's not a lot of like Zoras or FWBs with a design and visual identity that is as powerful as the product itself. I saw a tweet today that was like an average product with great marketing will be a great product with average marketing every time. And I agree. And I think that transfers over to DAOs, and especially with community building and wanting to be a part of something. The visual identity and the vibes per se. I don't like using that, but there is something there. Whether that be a Zoomer or a Boomer. I've seen not a lot, but I've seen it's a rare breed, a Boomer with a great sense of touch when it comes to visual identity and branding. Dennison being one of them. Thank God we have him. But I'm excited to see that in the coming bull, and I'll probably be a little more vocal about that on Twitter. I think we all kind of have our niche, and yeah, version.
The vibes are extremely key,
Yeah.
But I think that's like tying it back to arbitrary. It's interesting, right? Because like the name is, kind of clunky, but like the vibes of the team and the community have kind of like made the name what it is. It's not about the name. It's about like it's like the vibes make the name. Not the other way around.
Do you know the brand? It's like Arc'teryx. I don't know. I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's like ARCETRYX. How do you
Tommy
say that?
officially announces himself as a non-finance bro. Congratulations.
What is the name of that? How do you pronounce it? Do you know?
It's Arc'teryx.
It's Arc'teryx?
Yeah,
How do you
it's
both
like the
know
new.
that?
It's like the new Patagucci. Like all the finance people will be wearing Arc'teryx.
Okay.
Like, oh
well,
no.
my point.
I'm not just like every other finance bro. I don't wear Patagucci. I wear Arc'teryx.
There's a Italian employee I won't name who wears it. You know who it is too. Gives off the most. He's not a finance bro, but he gives off the most finance bro vibes.
Oh yeah, it's Raph.
He's a tall man.
Nice.
It's not Raph.
Wait, what? Who else gives off finance bro vibes?
Dave.
Oh yeah, dude. Dave definitely wears.
But he's
Arc'teryx.
not. That's the thing that makes him great. It's like, as a fellow, someone who gives off, I've been approached as like a very like douchey frat white guy. Like I understand the stigma of. Shut up. See, you prove my point. But my point about that is the name is it's pretty it's not irrelevant, but it's relatively small in terms of like success. I think it comes down to more of execution in the team. Like that name is the most clunky, hardest to pronounce just by looking at a name that I've ever seen be successful, and that's
a really good point.
That brand is incredibly successful.
It's like the most they make the fanciest outdoor equipment or outdoor like apparel. Like it's not just like it's followed the same path as Patagonia, where it, like started out as like really high quality outdoor gear and then like got adopted by the frat bros. It's just like a tier up even from Patagonia in terms of quality and also like the snootiness of the brand. But yeah,
and the name,
it's super nice.
Every like MBA type or PhD type would be like, that's not the type of name you should be going for. Like phonetically, it doesn't make any sense. It's not easy. It's not smooth. So interesting to see. Okay,
All right, I have an idea for a question.
Yes, go for it.
Let's make a bet. How many airdrops do you think are going to happen between today and the end of January? Major airdrops.
So 3 months. Oh.
No. Yeah, 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
Announced or like executed?
Announced. And I'll define major airdrop as $1 billion plus FDV.
Ooh.
And what do we get if we win this bet?
Can
we put 10K in escrow each?
0.01 ETH.
What about a bajillion tally?
Jesus Christ. God. That is not... there is no airdrop coming.
Everyone relax.
Officially.
Everyone relax. So the three of us each contribute 0.00333333 ETH. And the winner gets 0.01 ETH.
Okay. I'm going to say 2.
So right now that'd be like $18.
Actually, no, I'm going to go with 1.
What? And you think we're back?
All right, let's stretch it out. Let's stretch it out to the end of March. So the end of Q1. End of Q1.
Good one.
Yeah.
1.
Okay.
You can't pick one.
I can't pick one?
No, CHG. You can't pick one.
I'm not going to pick one.
She's just like I would want that
29.
trash guess.
Do you want to go next? Do you have your number in mind?
Yeah.
Go.
3. No, 2.
Okay, I'll take 3.
All right. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Fuck yeah. All right, cool.
What if there's like 3, but the third one is like 900 million FDD?
I will personally contribute.
CG's going to be in there like personally contributing.
Yeah.
You're going to go find some like a liquid exchange and try to buy like $200,000 of it. You're like, look,
I'm the majority stakeholder in like, yeah.
Okay, my question. What do you think is the most influential DAO of all time?
Damn, that's a good question. Fuck.
I think no matter how you answer this question, someone's going to get upset about it. Because I think arguably you could be like,
I'm already
the DAO. Like the DAO is, you could say.
I'm already fucking pissed.
So can you ask that question? I think let's take the DAO out of it because I think that's obvious. Like it's ground zero. I say like post the
like
DAO.
no,
what is the most?
DAO. Yeah,
obviously, like that's the originator of the entire. In a sense, then, what do you think is the most influential DAO? And I key on influential.
There's several really good choices here. Like some ones that I think are worth discussing. Nouns is worth discussing. MakerDAO is worth discussing. Curve worth discussing. Compound, Uniswap also really important.
But the question wasn't let's discuss. It's which one do you think is the most influential? And we can discuss after.
I think Arbitrum and Optimism are both making a case for themselves as well, even though they're newer.
Yeah. My gut reaction is, and I think it's my bias showing as someone who works for Tally, which is like, governor everything, is Compound.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
And I think that's also a prediction. I'm making the prediction of or the assumption that Governor DAOs, which we all I think agree with, are kind of the only way forward for on-chain DAOs. So I'm gonna go with Compound, but you guys can agree. Don't feel like we can have a discussion after like Frisian, you mentioned all the other ones that are, making a case for it. I think maybe in a year or two that'll be different. I think the Arbitrum Optimism two-headed monster, at least for now, it's the two-headed monster, um, are making strong cases. Like you could say, like in a year, pretty confidently, like they're going to be the most influential. But I would say for now, Compound, just because it's laying the front. It's kind of like the DAO 2.0 in terms of not like how it worked, but in terms of its influence on the infrastructure for like hundreds of DAOs after the fact.
I'm going Maker. And the reason I'm going Maker is because it predates Compound, and there's some important, like very important engineering differences that make it so that like the MakerDAO model didn't replicate and probably isn't going to replicate from like a product perspective, I guess. But if you look at how MakerDAO works just on a high level, they have this like forum plus temp check plus on-chain. And that's the model that everyone uses now, like all the big protocols, right? And so like the kind of model for decision making, I feel like, and the idea of on-chain governance in general, which I think is like the most important part of DAOs, I think Maker is most responsible for. Also, just like hilarious DAO drama. They got that covered, random takeovers, Rune's here, Rune's gone, he's so back, I'm going Maker.
Yeah, I'd definitely go between
Cool.
Maker and Compound.
Too bad.
What?
You can't choose those.
What?
We already chose them. We need a third.
It's like the whole game of the questions. You can't choose the same ones.
Space Schools?
It's Olympus
Maybe,
DAO 3-3 dog.
Maybe once Space Schools becomes a DAO, they would sort of shoot to the top of the list for me.
What we're not going to go with the DAO that invented 3-3. They literally redefined game theory forever.
They invented game theory.
Just leave it. Okay. What about
don't misspeak like that.
What about like all the crazy curve wars? I might just be thinking of like what are the most drama-filled DAOs.
Is Curve a DAO?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Curve is Curve is like definitely on the short list here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna maybe bleep that out. If Curve's a DAO, God damn it.
No, leave it in. Everyone needs to know.
Yeah.
That just means you didn't get involved in the curve wars, which means you have more money than all the people who did. So shout out to you.
Amen. Shout out.
Hey, don't rub it in, guys.
Okay.
You save money in other ways. We won't say on air how.
Dude, one time when I was like dipping my toes into the curve wars, I literally paid like $400 for a transaction on Ethereum at once.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
You're joking.
I don't think I ever got that crazy.
Like, what am I doing?
I think the most I ever paid for gas was like $180.
400. Oh my god. That's absolutely insane. We need to do a whole episode of just like tales from.
Can you answer the question?
Yeah.
We're not letting you off the hook here.
I'll go with Uniswap.
Sounds so disappointed. I guess we'll go with Uniswap.
Well, I want to do an episode on like tales from curve wars.
Yeah,
that'd be a good one. We can put people on to like tell their horror stories.
It's not a bad idea. Kind of like Reza's, in a vein from Reza's podcast. If you haven't listened to it, what is it called? They changed the name.
When are we gonna get the invite? By the way,
we did get the invite, and then it just never happened.
We gotta get back on.
Oh.
You should just message him and ask.
He needs to invite all three of us this time, though. I feel like he doesn't know CHG, but y'all would get along really well.
But CHG's perfect for that podcast.
Yeah, she is. She's way more degenerate than us.
The whole point of the podcast is he's like, you have to be either drunk or high to be on the podcast. And I was like, huh?
Easy.
Yeah.
You're doing one better. Hit him
and
with
then apparently he will like
you have to be crossfaded.
I don't know what it's called. It was called This Time Will Be Different at first, and then he changed the name. But it's been a really good. He had Skrelly on.
No way.
That's such a Reza thing to get Scrolly. Dude, I love
Yeah.
Reza. God, he's so great.
Let's see. It's called This Time Will Be Different. Oh, the first one was called DGen Hour, and then that was taken, so he changed it. This Time Will Be Different. But
I
yeah, I
like
would go
the name.
check that one out. Danner
Yeah,
is
that's
on
a
that
nice
one as
name.
well. Yeah,
I think
but
I feel like Curve. I mean, Uniswap is obviously extremely influential, but I
Yeah.
feel like Compound kind of gets the crown on that in that vein, you know.
What do you think
but you
about like the foundation versus DAO setup that like Uniswap has pioneered in a lot of ways?
I actually don't know that well, I guess it kind of pioneered it. I don't know. Like, I
On
think,
like a massive scale?
well, so I think foundations have been around for a long time in crypto. The Ethereum Foundation is kind of like this. Basically, it's like there's some centralized entity that's like a nonprofit and some like, super like, friendly jurisdiction or whatever. And it's like adjacent to the protocol, right? So the Ethereum Foundation is like this. So really, I think this model is like, as old as like Ethereum. And I don't know what the deal with Bitcoin is. Like Bitcoin Core is probably kind of like this. So maybe it's even as old as like, Bitcoin. But in the DAO world, I guess it's newer. I don't really think Compound or Maker has a foundation. Maker had a foundation actually, and then they dissolved it, I think. But maybe they're going to make one again. Maker always does this thing where it's like time is a flat circle and they just like loop back to like something they were doing before. But I really like I like Uniswap's foundation for a couple of reasons. One, I think they have great people, but two, the foundation is like actively blessed by the DAO because they have to get funding from the DAO. Like, the newer model is these foundations get formed like pre-DAO and funded at the airdrop, which like that has its benefits, like especially if you work for the foundation, right? But like the Uniswap Foundation is like they got to earn their keep, So yeah, I think that's an interesting model where like the DAO actually has to like actively renew the funding.
Yeah, that's a good one. When I was talking with Meg, she was telling me how long Gitcoin DAO has been around doing grants programs, and I wonder, like, as pretty much everywhere starts doing grants programs, if that could like make Gitcoin more influential in the long run. It's just people copying their like emphasis on grants that they've had since the very beginning.
Gitcoin is super influential, like just in general in the space. I feel like they popularized the public goods funding meme. They're like
What about
a pretty early
ENS
DAO.
for popularizing delegates? Is that wrong to say that they
No,
popularized?
ENS is a super influential DAO. The ENS airdrop was like legendary because
Yeah.
that brought the most normies, introduced the most normies to the concept of DAOs. Like the ENS airdrop was like the most transcendent, like normie on-chain event. I feel like still to date, yeah, like maybe like Pepe or something has since passed it. Probably not though. Yeah, I feel like the ENS airdrop is like is in like a short list of most important on-chain events ever. So I feel like that alone puts ENS up there for sure.
I think my question is like the question was leading, right? Like there's not one. I think there's a lot. But for the sake of the bit, you got to answer for one. But I think there's a lot. Maybe in 10
we know
years.
way too much about DAOs. Is my summary of the answer to
Yeah.
that discussion.
Yeah, I say it all the time, but like every time I'm editing this podcast, it's like usually like kind of late, and I'm just like, this is the most turbo niche shit ever. Like, like even if I know you guys like we still have like a pretty solid following, like it stays the same. I don't know if it's the same people or if it's just like we're losing and adding at the same pace. But we could fill like a good sized like what's not the word, like an event with people who listen to the pod, but like it's still is turbo niche, which is fine. That's what life's about. I have fun doing it. I think people have fun listening to it. That reminds me, we always forget to shout out our like main listeners who like tweet about us. The one that comes top of mind is Polar, Kyler. I think Danny listens to it pretty consistently. Tyler Internet. Shout out Tyler Internet, who took some quotes out of context from a couple episodes ago, which was freaking awesome. Yeah. Anyone else that we're missing? Friends of DAO Talk. Also, if you're gonna be in Istanbul, come find me or CHG. We have a bunch of like really cool Tally merch. Some shirts and then some disposable cameras and some other goodies that we'll be giving out. After you guys, who else do you think we should be shouting out? Is there anyone else I'm missing here?
I wanted to say, this is beside the point, but it is a shout out in a way. It's more of a shout out than a serious answer. But Index Coop spent $10,000 on some like a 3D owl, 3D Cooper was the name of the project. And it was like a variety of 3D owls in different job positions, sort of. So there was like a cop and like a cowboy and like a teacher. And we like had this whole project around making this thing that was never used. But it was really funny, and I think that is both a shout out for that thing because it's funny. We should put the link in the show notes. It's very funny, and also a testament, like long term in DAOs, of like the random shit you can do when you work as a group. Like not just these serious things of like, compound sending up governor and like Uniswap's foundation stuff and Gitcoin's grants, but also like you can work together like on the most random shit ever in an organized somewhat fashion. I just really wanted to say that I have this owl thing. You guys are gonna crack up when you see it.
Shout out Peace Node for his recent tweet in which he said, "Inside of Blue there are two really cuddly kittens."
I love that tweet.
Shout out Peace Node in general. When he said, "I hate settings, friendship with settings ended."
Yeah, I felt that.
That was, I mean, that's based.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Shout out
I really hope that Peace Node listens to this whole podcast episode. I need that.
Need it. All right. Well, we will be in Istanbul next week. CSG and I will be in Istanbul next week. We will be most likely recording a live episode. Maybe we'll even live stream it. We'll see. But some announcements there. If you're going to be in Istanbul next week on Monday, we have a little event CSG and I will be speaking at called How to DAO. CSG will be giving a talk on token governance. I'll be giving a talk on why on-chain DAOs or why all real DAOs are on-chain DAOs. And we'll be on a few panels as well. After that, we'll be in and out of a bunch of events throughout the week, Tuesday to Saturday. So definitely hit us up on Twitter, DMs, whatever. If you want to meet, let us know. We'll be recording some like cool like TikTok style videos as well on the streets of Istanbul or in the event halls. Looking forward to that. As always, subscribe to the Tally newsletter, tally.substack.com or newsletter.tally.xyz. It's both, I think. CSG's pumping that out every week. It is absolutely amazing. I think we're close to like 125 issues of that. And yeah, we'll see you next week for episode number 64 of DAO Talk Weekly, live from Istanbul. Version will probably be out, but CSG and I will be live from there. So peace.
Bye.